Google are now telling everyone the exact traffic your ads are receiving. Negative keyword lists can finally be added directly into PMax campaigns. And Amazon have abruptly pulled out of Google Shopping, giving online retailers a huge new opportunity. We'll be talking about all of that and more as we recap the top PPC news stories from July. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Lunio's paid media news show. I'm Ben from the content team here at Lunio.
And I'm James, content lead at Lunio. You might have already seen some of our other video content, like our webinars, our Paid Media Lab podcast, both of those on YouTube and LinkedIn, where we mostly discuss strategies and tactics for running better PPC campaigns. But we wanted to create this new monthly content format to provide a dedicated place for us to discuss some of the most noteworthy recent headlines from the world of paid media.
Rapid advancements in AI, shifting consumer behaviour, and a flood of new ad platform features make it easy to get lost in the noise and lose sight of the really important stuff. Our goal with this show is to help you stay up to date with the developments that matter most, all neatly wrapped up in under 15 minutes. At the end of each month, we'll recap the top 5 paid media news stories worth paying attention to. Plus, we'll round up helpful commentary and analysis from the leading voices in the industry, so you can see how the experts are reacting to new developments. And with that all said, let's get straight into the first story.
New traffic volume labels have started appearing in search ads, raising eyebrows and sparking concerns over data transparency and accuracy. Performance marketer Thomas Eccel recently spotted a search ad on mobile that shows how much traffic an advertiser has received directly in search ads, PMax or AI Max ads. This does add a layer of social proof that could boost trust and overall click-through rates, but crucially, we don't know where Google is sourcing this data from. Thomas raised other valid concerns too. Will volume labels get added automatically to every search ad? Can advertisers opt out? What control do marketers have over this? We haven't heard anything official from Google on this yet, but it's definitely worth keeping your eyes peeled on your search ads over the coming months.
Yeah, this one kind of came out of nowhere. There could be potential benefits to this, but I know some marketers will consider their traffic information too sensitive to be shared publicly. We reached out to Thomas Eccel directly on this, and he sent in a quick video explaining his thoughts on what this could mean going forward.
Hi James and Ben, thanks for inviting me to your news show. When I saw this new extension, let's call it 100k visits in the last month, I was like a bit shocked because I thought instantly, how did Google drag this number? Where does it come from? Is it coming from Google Ads clicks? Is it coming from Google Analytics? Is Google showing a number that the advertiser is not even knowing that it shows? This is only showing on mobile. So I spotted it on mobile and not on desktop. So this batch might only be eligible on mobile. I think it matters. I mean, you can already get some numbers out of the Google Ads Transparency Center, but now Google is really showing them to you on the Google search page. And I think it could be interesting if you have like a big competitor and you want to know how they are doing, to have a look at their ads and see if they also get this badge. Probably then you know their spend is increasing and you should do something. But also on the other way, you could see that already in the auction insights. If your impression share, for example, is decreasing, then you already know, okay, something is wrong. Can be obviously due to rank or due to budget. I don't know at this point a lot about it. I just spotted it and spread it to the world, but it could be quite interesting for you to see how much traffic is sent to your competitors, but also it's, I think, too far in terms of privacy to Google to show these numbers out to the world.
Of course, a big thanks to Thomas for sharing his insights with us. Next up, we've got another important Google Ads feature release. If your Target ROAS campaigns feel capped, you might want to try Google's new Smart Bidding Exploration feature. Essentially, Smart Bidding Exploration gives Google's AI selective freedom to bid more aggressively when it sees undervalued opportunities. Clarice Lynn described it as giving your top salesperson 10 to 30% flexibility to pursue high-quality leads they'd normally skip, but only when the numbers make sense. Crucially, no learning phase is needed, just a 1 to 2 week ramp up for testing new traffic. However, for best results, Google recommends letting it run for at least 6 weeks.
Google's senior digital growth strategist stated that giving tROAS campaigns a bit of wiggle room has shown very strong early results, but then again, of course, he would say that. So we asked ex-Googler and all-round PPC expert Jyll Saskin Gales for her thoughts on smart bidding exploration, how it differs from just lowering target ROAS, and whether you should be using it. And here's what she had to say.
Google considers smart bidding exploration to be their greatest bidding innovation in a decade. I wouldn't go that far. I think that's a bit hyperbolic, but there are some interesting opportunities here for Google Ads practitioners. When I met with the team at Google that developed smart bidding exploration, there were 3 things that struck me as pretty interesting about this opportunity. First, how is using SBE different than just lowering your target ROAS or running an experiment at a lower ROAS? With smart bidding exploration, your existing campaign structure with its existing performance at your existing target ROAS stays untouched. So when you turn on SBE at a more flexible ROAS target, it's going to be fishing in a different part of the pond, for example, or shopping in a different part of the store. If it works well, great, but if it doesn't, no matter what, it will not impact the core performance of what's already working well in your campaign. Unlike lowering your target ROAS, which could impact performance of the whole campaign, or running an experiment where your experiment arm will be competing with your control arm. The second thing I thought was interesting is that this is only compatible with target ROAS and only in search campaigns. Why couldn't they have made this available in shopping or PMax? I don't know. But it does mean that the use case for this is going to be much more limited than you might initially think when you hear of a feature called smart bidding exploration. And then the third thing is thinking about why this feature exists. Why did Google create this? Because that's what I always try to think about. And it's about monetizing more searches, which is what so much of Google innovation is about. That's based on my own inference and experience working at Google and working closely with Google. But if Google were to come to everyone and tell everyone, hey, test a lower ROAS, they'd get some takers, not many. But by calling it smart bidding exploration, building it into the campaign settings on every single Google search campaign, a ton more people are going to toggle that on and try it. Similar to how we all hated the broad match setting in search campaigns, like who asked for that? But now that it's AI Max, we all can't wait to try it. So should you try smart bidding exploration? Only if you're not losing any search impression share due to budget, in which case you should fix that first, and your quality scores are generally about 6 or higher. That means that the reason you're losing out on opportunity is not due to budget, and it's not due to quality score, therefore it's due to bidding, and SBE is a safer way to test if changing your bidding target will indeed bring you new opportunities.
And there you have it. Big thanks to Jyll for sharing her insights on smart bidding exploration. For more of Jyll's excellent insights, check out her episode of the Paid Media Lab podcast, where she explained how to test Google's new AI Max feature in the right way without throwing budget down the drain. We will put a link to that down in the description of this episode so you can check that out. Moving on to some more positive news from Google Ads now. We're finally able to add negative keyword lists directly into PMax campaigns. This is pretty significant. Negative keyword lists can now be used across PMax to clean up traffic without relying on account level exclusions or campaign level negatives. Since day one, advertisers have been requesting more control over PMax targeting, especially around brand safety and irrelevant queries. But before you get your hopes up, it's worth bearing in mind that Google's own documentation still states that negative keyword lists can't be used in Performance Max campaigns. Hopefully, this is just outdated documentation off the back of Google quietly dropping a long overdue feature and not some strange UI bug. We'll have to wait for the official word from Google to find out on that one.
We're optimistic that negative keyword lists for PMax are here to stay, so we asked Lunio founder and Chief Strategy Officer Neil Andrew to give us his take on the addition of negative keyword lists for PMax.
This is definitely a welcome change from Google. I think we're still waiting to see if this is official policy or if it's just simply a UI glitch. If we assume that this is actually intentional and it becomes official policy, I think it's not a surprising development in my view. Google have for a long time been under fire around lack of controls that are available to advertisers in PMax. We've had recent studies showing that PMax inventory is filled with hate speech, explicit content, disinformation, and that's really eroded trust quite a lot further. And we've seen the US government actually starting to take more of an interest in this recently. There's been calls from both the Senate and from Congress to investigate Google's ad targeting and to investigate placements further. And so I think any transparency that Google is seen to be offering around this, such as allowing negatives within PMax, can only help them in these cases and these potential investigations. We know from research here at Lunio that adding negatives obtained through n-gram analysis at the account level can actually have a fantastic improvement on overall performance. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what incremental gains we can drive by moving that from the account level directly into these PMax campaigns, and if we can drive even better performance as a result of this change.
Thanks to Neil for sharing his insights. This is definitely one you're going to want to keep an eye on going forward. Next up, we should briefly mention that Microsoft Ads is retiring Target CPA and Target ROAS bidding for new ad campaigns, starting in August. Instead, new campaigns should use maximize conversions or maximize conversion value strategies, aligning bidding strategies in Microsoft Ads more closely with those in Google Ads.
Yeah, this is an important one to be aware of if you're running Microsoft Ads and you're spending a significant amount of your budget through that channel. Microsoft Ads liaison Nava Hopkins said that advertisers won't need to take action and that there's no functional change in bidding strategies. However, understanding the new strategy labels are key to optimizing future campaigns effectively. This seems like a move from Microsoft to get more Google Ads users to test and run Microsoft Ads, which is a smart play on their part. If they can make their interface more similar to Google's, people are going to have less of a learning curve to get used to it and run better campaigns. And finally, let's end with a big one. Amazon has abruptly exited Google Shopping ad auctions, sending a shockwave through the entire ad ecosystem. Amazon represented a colossal chunk of revenue for Google and have traditionally been the biggest and most aggressive competitor in ad auctions. With Amazon gone, other retailers and brands could see real gains, lower CPCs, a higher impression share, and stronger click-through rates. What's unclear is why Amazon made this move, or whether it's a short-term pause or a long-term shift in their strategy. So far, there's been no official explanation. All we know is that Amazon's disappearance from Google Shopping auctions is completely unprecedented, with all the data showing a complete and sudden stop across millions of impressions.
In terms of reactions, there are many from the marketing community who are just kind of in shock. And then there are others who are like rubbing their hands together and looking for the opportunities following this massive shift. First up, we've got performance marketing specialist Chris Nightingale, who stated, "For years, Amazon's presence on Google Shopping has inflated CPCs, dominated impression share, and made the auction room feel like a car boot sale where Jeff Bezos has already bought the best pitch, undercut you, and put your own products on his table." Then we've got Mike Ryan, head of insights at SMEC, who said he has not seen an ad stop this dramatic since the pandemic lockdowns. He then went on to speculate why Amazon might have done this, with questions like, is Amazon tired of funding their competitor Google? Is there a particular sticking point relating to Amazon's own ad ambitions? Or is it just something about AI or channel efficacy? He then made the point that while this is great news for competing retailers, brands and sellers who often benefit from Amazon advertising on their behalf will be far less pleased. Performance marketer Brandon Yan commented that this is the perfect opportunity for brands and agencies to take back control and win back visibility and revenue via Google search ads to Amazon. Finally, RRM founder Jonathan Alford Leach echoed Brandon, stating this to be a real moment of opportunity, but only if you're ready to move quickly with clean, optimized product feeds, smart bidding strategies, a clear shopping ad structure, and solid CRO to convert clicks. And that's it for the first episode of our Paid Media News Show. Links to all the posts mentioned in the episode can be found in the description, so be sure to check those out and follow the PPC experts who gave us their insights in this episode. For more PPC news and advice, check out the free resources link below, and subscribe to our newsletter for more insights like these delivered straight to your inbox. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next month to round up the headlines worth paying attention to in August.